25 years in, it's still in the same place that it was. Yeah. It's not like, I mean, if you're hoping to beat the NFL and the NBA, good luck.
Thank you for downloading and listening to the West Box Score. We take a look at sports on the west side of the country, inside and outside of the box score. I'm Alex Gonzalez. Here to do that with me is my co-host, my co-pilot, my co-captain, the Pudge Rodriguez, to my Yadier Molina, Donald Paz. What's up, Donald?
Yo, what's going on, Alex?
I'm good. I'm pumped, man. Here to hang out again with you and, of course, the elite sports podcast guest of all time from the Fox Crate podcast. It's, of course, Sonny and Mano. What's up, Sonny?
What's up, boys?
Dude, excited to get started here. But before we do, I need to ask you to please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WestBoxScore. Also, subscribe, rate, review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts downloaded. So, guys, we're recording fresh off the Lakers' big Game 4 win. We're pumped, but before we get into the Game 4 stuff, we got to recap a little bit of Game 2, which I think the Lakers, in my opinion, look strong, but not dominant. I think there was one tweet on Laker Twitter there saying there's only a 10-point lead at one point. It's like, what's going on? It's like They should be dominating after what happened in Game 1. And then in Game 3, the gentleman's sweep, as Sonny likes to refer to it, where they give away one game. I think Jimmy Butler went all Super Saiyan on there and took the Miami Heat on his back, dude, and went crazy. What were your takeaways from Game 2 and 3? Sonny, I'll start with you.
Well, Game 2, for those that might remember, was the first game where we didn't have to worry about Bam Adebayo or Goran Dragic. So I think the expectation was like, oh, that's a wrap. About to bust out the brooms. Nice knowing you, Heat. Thanks for participating, et cetera, et cetera. And the game, I mean, to the tweet's point that you just referenced, I felt like it was closer than it should have been given those circumstances.
Absolutely.
And yet it never felt like it was in threat either. So it was a weird game too. But the Lakers took care of business, which was great. Game 3, on the other hand, props to Mr. Jimmy Butler, man, who said, "Get on my back. I will take you home." And he said, "They're in trouble. They're in trouble." Right. That's what he said. So, yeah, man. I mean, to me, it wasn't one of those moments. I mean, yes, of course, as a fan, you feel a bit disappointed because you always expect your team, when they're the favorite, to win. Sometimes even when they're not the favorite, you expect them to win. That's just being an irrational fan. But in that situation, it was like, okay, we've seen this Laker team take a little bit of a punch, but we know they have a chin. And it was going to be, all right, how do you bounce back in Game 4? Is it more of the same that you've demonstrated throughout this bubble playoffs, where it's like you take that punch and then you come back and you deliver the 1-2 knockout? And tonight, luckily, was the 1. Hopefully Friday comes the 2.
Yeah, I love the analogy of the chin, taking it on the chin and fighting back. That's
right.
When the LA Kings were doing their thing back in their Stanley Cup runs, it was #grit. Finding out a way to grit out games and getting down but not getting out. Donna, what were your takeaways from Games 2 and 3?
Similar to Sonny. I think that Game 2 was the game where you felt the Heat were going to figure out, like, how do we look without Bam and without Dragic? And as expected, I mean, everyone expected the Lakers to win that one. And the minute the news broke, which I think was I think hours before Game 2, where they let everyone know, hey, these two guys are out. So I felt like the Lakers were going to just play their game and do their thing, and then the Heat were going to try to figure out like what rotation is going to work best against this Laker team without Bam and Dragic. So obviously the game was a little easier for the Lakers, and they definitely took care of business. And then Game 3 was insane. I did say that the Heat were going to drop. I mean, not the Heat, that the Lakers were going to drop one. So when Game 3 happened, and just seeing the amount of turnovers, it just felt from the get-go that it wasn't meant for the Lakers to win it. And, it was crazy to see that the Heat look like the Heat that we always knew they were going to be coming into this series. And then today's game was just exactly kind of what I think I was predicting was going to happen from the beginning of the series. So it's insane, but I'm thinking that both teams look comfortable. But game 3, definitely, like you guys said already, man, Jimmy Butler took care of business. I was wondering whether Jimmy Butler was going to be able to keep that momentum going for the rest of the series. So that's definitely.
I mean, it's this Miami Heat team doesn't go away, which is fun as a fan to watch the game, but also nerve-wracking as a fan to watch the game, because you obviously want your team to win, but you don't want them to worry you that they're going to blow the lead at some point, which is so worrisome about this really good Miami team. Which for me in the first half of game 4 here now, it just was very sloppy in that first half, and I really get upset with the Lakers shot selection, always having to just shoot up from the 3, like try to get inside, but that Miami defense really plays that zone really well, where they can't get the Lakers have a hard time penetrating it, so they have to settle for the 3-point shot. And the fourth quarter, man, just turned it on. All Lakers, I think, only giving up 2 fouls at one point throughout the whole fourth quarter. I think it might have been 2 or 3, but that's the way you win games. And they minimize the turnovers. A lot of turnovers there in the first half too for the Lakers, and that spelled disaster for them in game 3. So it looks like they're riding the ship a little bit in this game 4. What do you see from game 4 here, Sonny?
Yeah, it started off very sloppy, which was disappointing to see, because clearly part of the recipe for our loss in game 3 was, besides Jimmy Butler going off like he did, was our contribution on the turnover side.
Right.
And to see that kind of continue from the jump in game 4 was maddening. Especially because it was LeBron who was still turning the ball over early in this game.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, again, this is kind of what you get, man, when you have LeBron as essentially your de facto point guard, because he's not a true point guard, but of course he has the cerebralness to kind of play the position. Yeah. But he's not a point guard, so he's prone to kind of some more turnovers than your traditional point guard. Yeah. But I thought the team recovered nicely in the second half from those early mistakes. Specifically LeBron, I think he ended up with something like 6 turnovers, and it felt like he had all 6 of them in the first half. So
he got better on it second half for sure.
Yeah, he definitely cleaned it up, man. Props to KCP for showing up in this game. Of all, the now 3 years that we've had KCP on our roster, I felt like finally this game was the game that we can point to, be like, okay, that's why you kept the KCP. Obviously, aside from the fact that we needed to keep KCP to get LeBron and appease LeBron, and then ultimately get AD. They're all being clutch agents. I get that side of it, but at least from the performance on the court, he finally proved himself or made himself worthy, if you will, of the purple and gold by delivering what he did today, and especially down the stretch, because the Lakers 3-point shooting in that fourth quarter was ice cold as the seltzer that Donald is drinking right now. It was and KCP got a shot by a LeBron assist in rhythm, I think with 3 minutes to go. Splashed it. I think it got a bang from Mike Breen. And then he had a nice drive to the layup with the shot clock running down. Not iced the game, but kind of gave us a little bit of separation. So all in all, props to KCP. Outside of that, I thought this really was a team win. I really loved the defense that the Lakers played in the clutch. Like they showed they were the superior defensive team. Miami being what they've been, but even Miami doesn't have the defense. When the Lakers play in unison, they don't have the defense that the Lakers have, and they showed that tonight. So hopefully we wrap this thing up, man. But I'm curious to see what Donald's thoughts were on tonight's game.
Yeah, man. I just felt that same way too. For me, the game, I think I don't know. I think, like I said earlier, I think this game 4, was what I had hoped the series would be from the beginning, because I do love the back and forth. I love when two teams that are in the finals actually go at it as if they're both the best. I don't like seeing the blowouts. And, even though I'm very happy with the Lakers win, it was interesting, and it was pretty cool to see Miami kind of be in there. And I kind of similar to the Nuggets series, I never felt comfortable, even with the Lakers having a 1-point lead, a 2-point lead, or 3-point lead, or even down the stretch in the fourth quarter when they were up I think 7 points before the timeout was called. And then Miami trying to figure out what they could do I think there was 2.5 minutes left in the game, and the Lakers were up by 7. So even with that much separation, I just felt like, oh my gosh, you can't sleep on this Miami team, because Hero could just go off on a 3, and then you just wait for the Lakers to make a mistake and then give, Duncan Robinson or Hero the ball again for another 3, and now you're down or you're tied. So those nerves definitely were here. And I think that for sure, I don't know, to me, I felt like both teams felt really comfortable with each other. I almost saw that both of them weren't scared of each other. And credit to the Lakers defense. They definitely did a good job of getting the Heat to turn the ball over. A lot of it was mostly just letting the Heat shoot and miss the shot and getting those rebounds, which was really key. But, at the same time, on the other end, I did see that the Heat were also bringing it to the Lakers and not letting them get the boards or anything. They were letting the Lakers shoot from the outside. It's we'll take our chances with you guys shooting 3-pointers, and hopefully you'll miss them. And, some of them did get missed and whatnot, but, the ones that came through definitely helped. Markieff Morris had a good run. I think he was a big help. Outside of KCP, I would say Morris with those 3-pointers and then that rebound. That one play where they were running down the 24-second clock, and you could tell they didn't know what they were doing, and then Markieff forced a foul on, was it Kolynik? And that was a smart play. I was like, oh shoot, what were they gonna do? And he kind of pulled that out. It almost felt like a spy or something trying to come up with a win. It's insane. But yeah, man, credit to the Lakers. I'm really excited. I'm hoping for a good closeout game on Friday. And hopefully I hope it's just as contentious and that they really win it because they earned it,
Oh yeah. Well, this game 5 should be interesting in this closeout game. The extra day of rest, I feel like, is going to help a slightly older LeBron. And hopefully now we're going to see some sharper shooting from both teams now because of the extra day of rest. They'll have stronger legs underneath them, hopefully more rested. And I don't think that strategy of letting the Heat kind of miss those shots may not pan out as well. So as much as we're hoping for the closeout game on Friday, I'm still a little worried. This Miami team is not going away easily. I mean, you guys said it was going to be, you guys both called this, so this is both of your faults. Said to look out for this Miami team. So I'm blaming you guys because I'm watching this Miami team, and I am more scared of them than any of the teams that they've played so far. More worried more than Houston, more than Denver. I mean, this team in Miami is legit. What's up, Sonny?
I told you, though, Lakers in 5 before we got started. So you shouldn't be worried, man. Everything's going. Right. If you stick to the script and you keep reading my book, it'll tell you, oh, okay, Sonny said it was going to be over 5. Don't worry. He said the Heat will be here, but don't worry.
What am I thinking going against the elite sports podcast guest of all time? What am I thinking? You're totally right. So hopefully the Lakers do wrap it up on Friday. Be sure to check it out, ABC, as you're listening to this episode. And hopefully we'll have another super secret bonus episode for you guys after that one's over. So moving on now. We got baseball. We got baseball going on too, man. An embarrassment of riches here. We got the NBA Finals. We got Game 1 of the NLDS going on right now between the Los Angeles Dodgers and San Diego Padres. Right, Sonny? Is that what they call it?
That's right. Slam Diego.
Not a lot of slamming happening.
No. Not right now. Not right now. What's the score right now, Donald?
It's 2-1. Dodgers just took the lead on a sac fly, actually.
They were getting no hit into the 6th inning here. I love the way MLB at bat had the no hit banner go up for this game. And of course, as soon as that happens, there it goes. No hitter gone. They scored on an error in the previous inning, so that's how the no-hitter was still intact. There was 6 different Padres pitchers who were combining for that no-hitter at one point. So that's interesting to see. It's postseason baseball, but to get here, the Dodgers took care of the Brewers in a 2-game sweep in the wild card round. Yeah, because that's normal. The first ever wild card round, 2-game sweep. So Buehler still getting into his form. He only threw 4 innings. Gave up 2 earned. It was a 2-run home run that he gave up. He threw 8 strikeouts, which is pretty good, right? How did that do for your fantasy league there, Sonny?
Oh man, unfortunately, fantasy is over, so
it's over,
right?
Okay.
It did nothing for my fantasy squad. Too little, too late. I wish Buehler would have done more of that during the regular season, but no, it was a good performance. Dodgers just went up 3-1, by the way.
Nice.
3-1. Yeah.
Here we go. They're going to hopefully run away with it. And also, game 2 was all Kershaw day, by the way, in that Milwaukee Brewers series.
Oh, yeah. That was a good performance.
8 innings, 3 hits only, 1 walk, and 13 strikeouts, dude. But it was a pitcher's duel because the Brewers starter, Brandon Woodruff, had 9 Ks. It looked good. Really, I've got to admit, I was a little worried because that always worries me in the postseason with the Dodgers bats going a little cold, especially in a pitcher's duel. And that's always scary. But Mookie Betts had a 2-run RBI double. So that's always good to see Mookie Betts do something in the postseason for us Dodgers. So what do you think the Dodgers need to do to get a positive outcome in this series, Donald?
I mean, obviously San Diego has really strong hitting, which is why they're called Slam Diego. But I mean, their pitching's pretty decent too. Like their pitching can get them through. Obviously, as we're seeing right now during the game, we're taping this while the game is happening in the NLDS Game 1. The Dodgers are barely, I mean, not that they're barely scoring in the 6th inning, but it's just like you could tell it's a contentious thing to get them going. So, I mean, I think for the most part, it's definitely going to be more of a pitching game for the Dodgers. Like the pitching has to be on point. Buehler really wasn't the best today, which I think is just a testament to the overall season he's had. Luckily, this isn't like a bigger stakes game. This isn't like a World Series or even the NLCS where you're playing a team that is more worthy of being there and that can probably get you on your mistakes. So luckily, it's not like that, but hopefully he gets into rhythm or figures out something because there's not going to be a lot of games left for him to figure it out. But like you said earlier with Kershaw, I mean, he did look good in that playoff game. So I don't know if it's because now Buehler's the guy that starts the first game that maybe he has like a little bit of okay, this guy's going to be the one that takes over. Even though I kind of have a hard time believing that. Kershaw's like a nice guy. Like he's a Christian man. So, he's just, he's a man of faith. He's like, I love being here, so and he makes a lot of money too.
What are we watching? Angels in the outfield here? What's going on?
But it was just insane seeing Kershaw do that, man. I don't think we've seen Kershaw be that good in a while. So it was really shocking to see it happen. But hopefully he brings it to San Diego like that. So
I don't think I've seen him pitch that well in the postseason almost ever at some point, but he has. It was his like 6th time double-digit strikeout game, so it's not like it's unheard of, but it was just a dominating performance that we're not necessarily used to with Kershaw in October. This is October, right? Doesn't feel right that this is October baseball, considering the fact that they played the shortened season and now they're in bubbles. So it is October baseball after all. Sonny, you're following this series, I'm sure. What are you looking for in this Padres Dodgers series?
I wish the Padres were at full strength. And I say that Mike Clevenger did start today, their ace. He did technically start, but he was pulled, I think, 3 innings into the game, or maybe 2 innings in the 2nd inning. I don't remember, but he wasn't projected to actually be healthy. So it was a surprise when I think this morning they announced that he was going to make the game 1 start. It's a shame because I feel like all things being equal, if the Padres had not only Clevenger healthy but also Timothy Lamet, who I would argue is their real ace. I guess TBD to see if he makes the start for game 2. I doubt it as of right now, but I feel like this would be a more interesting series. So because of that, the fact that the Padres aren't as deep in their rotation or as healthy, I don't see the Dodgers losing this series at all. Not that I didn't. It's not necessarily that I saw the Dodgers losing the series when they were both healthy. I just thought it was going to be closer, more interesting if they were healthy. I think since the Padres are not healthy and their bullpen was stretched. I mean, they played a 3-game series against the Cardinals, hard fought. I think their Game 3 series clincher was a bullpen game. So the other weird thing about this bubble is there's no. They had 2 days off between games here, but for the whole divisional round, there's no days off. Yeah, so they're playing from now until at least Saturday if it goes that far. And that's just going to be taxing for both bullpens, but obviously, like you guys had mentioned, the Dodgers didn't really have to tap into their bullpen during the first round series because of the dominance of Kershaw in Game 2 especially. Whereas the Padres, it seems like it's been a bullpen game for the last, X amount of games already. So I think all those things considered, I like the Dodgers to win this series and advance to the NLCS. And if Kershaw pitches the way he did in the first round, we'll see tomorrow how he pitches against San Diego. I mean, it is a very potent offense, so that's the only reason why you can't count out San Diego.
Exactly.
But you guys are the favorite, and you should win. The Dodgers should take care of business here in advance. But I'll say this much: the Dodgers are going to earn it, man. They're going to have to earn this World Series because the teams that are left that it's looking like will still be there. I mean, once they get through this Padres team. That Braves team, assuming that Marlins Magic runs out, that Braves team is ready, man. They're hungry. I mean, to me, they're the best offense in the league. Even more dangerous and potent than this Padres lineup. Not that the Dodgers' lineup is a slouch, but if we're comparing the offenses, the Braves have more firepower. The Dodgers, what's going to get them there is they're the most balanced team, both from a pitching standpoint and an offense standpoint. So we'll see, man. But I'm loving having baseball playoffs, despite another year that my Mariners are participating.
You always got to work in the Mariners, no matter what, Sonny. I appreciate that, dude. I really do. And I don't know what it is about this shows you my fandom between the Dodgers versus the Lakers that Donald, you mentioned. This is only not as an important game because it's the NLDS. It's like, for me, like, every playoff game the Dodgers play matters, even though it's a DS. When the Lakers play like a first round matchup, I kind of have to pay attention because I assume the Lakers will get past that first round. With the Dodgers, like, I don't know if it's a given they'll get through the NLDS, even though they've, like, look at what happened last year against the Nationals. So and like looking ahead, Sonny, as you mentioned, the Braves. I don't want to look past San Diego because I know they're going to be tough. Even though I hope like you, I expect the Dodgers to win, but I'm also not putting the cart before the horse here. But the Braves gave the Dodgers a tough time, even though in 2008, even though that was a 3-1 series win, the Braves looked strong. And they're 2 years older now, more experience. That Braves team could give us a lot of troubles in the NLCS. As much as the Dodgers are favored to win this World Series, I'm still
Alex, I think that's
every single game.
I think that's called trauma, dude. Exactly. I think the reason why you have a hard time, thinking your team's going to win is because the last few years they've gotten you that close.
Exactly. I'm still not over 2017 World Series. I'm still not over it.
Hey, you know what? I will say this. There's a chance. There's a chance that we get the rematch. There's a chance. And I'd say everybody, with the exception of maybe some Angels fans that I know, will be pulling for the Dodgers in that scenario. I know I will. I'll be pulling for the Dodgers.
Are there actual Angels fans that would root for the Astros in that series?
I want to say yes, just because of the rivalry you guys have built up over the last decade or so. I mean, come on, it's like asking if Galaxy fans would root against LAFC if we were playing against San Jose, somehow. And it's like
that's a bit of a weird one to me because I'm trying to think, like, what if it was the Astros versus the Giants, right, in the World Series? Ooh, because that one would be tough. That one I may go against the Giants and actually have to root for the Astros, but the Dodgers and Angels don't have that same intense divisional rivalry, though.
Well,
I don't
let me
see it
correct
that
this.
way.
Let me correct this. Then you're right. I completely omitted Giants fans being in the corner
Yeah,
for the Astros in that scenario. But I do think Angels fans' disdain for Dodger fans is real to the point
The
where I think they
inferiority
would.
complex is there.
Possible, man. It's possible. I've only experienced it through some of my inner circles because I have some buddies who are Angels fans and a lot of buddies who are Dodgers fans, and I like to just eat my popcorn when they when they're like getting into the discussions, and it's like, man, it gets pretty heated. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's always the best, man. I love that.
How disrespectful is it that they made the Astros play at Dodger Stadium?
Oh, I love that wrinkle. By the way, the fact that Springer and Correa have been going bombs over Baghdad right now at Dodger Stadium like it was 2017.
Oh, you son of a!
I hate that. I've been watching their games just because I think it's just so whack that they're playing there. But it's crazy, man. I mean, I wasn't expecting to be like terrible in the playoffs. I feel like their postseason experience is definitely showing. So yeah.
Definitely.
So,
and I was rooting so hard for the Oakland A's, man. I like an Oakland A's team, dude. They're fun to watch.
It's not over yet. They're down 2-0, but it's not, they just got to win 3 in a row.
Just do that. Just go out there and win 3 in a row. Like
how many sweeps do we see in baseball happen during the regular season? They happen.
That's very fair. That's very fair. So just an update on the Dodgers Padres game. Top of the 7th now. 5-1 Dodgers. Loving this.
Blew it open.
Loving this. But that's still a grand slam.
All right. I will say this.
Runs.
I hope that Dave Roberts learns his lesson and does not just throw out Kenley Jensen out there with a 4-run lead just to give Kenley some pitches or some reps. That is a mistake that this manager has made one too many times. And I hope for your guys' sake, he doesn't just give the Padres free looks at Kenley Jansen in a game that he doesn't probably even have to pitch in. So
you're right. And they are divisional rivals. So they see them often enough, but especially in the postseason, you don't want to refresh their memories. So
exactly.
I agree with you. Keep them off the mound right now.
Yeah.
But they are only a grand slam away from tying the game, so that's always
true.
Worrisome.
They did have the bases loaded earlier. How nervous were you when that?
Very nervous.
Yeah. I had the text ready. It was typed and everything. I had it ready. I was just waiting, and I was like, "Oh,
I knew you did.
Diego."
Knew you did. Ron Burgundy, we hate you. Moving on now. The NFL week, what is that? Week 4 now? What week? What
We're
year
heading to week 5.
We're heading to week 5, yeah.
Man, so the Rams got an ugly win over the New York Football Giants, 17-9. A really tough one to watch offensively. Not a lot of anything going on. Goff only threw for 200 yards. He threw a touchdown at least, and it was the Cooper Kupp. Balanced running game by Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson there. They split it pretty good, 9 and 8 carries each respectively. Man, I don't know. This Rams offense, the genius McVay, sometimes worries me in games like this that should be blowouts. Sonny, you said this should have been a blowout win, and you said if the Rams didn't handily beat the Giants, you would be worried. I'm worried because they should have beat them by a whole lot more. Yeah, I was not an excited Rams fan watching this game, but wins a win, man.
They got the W.
It's gonna look like a blowout in the win column, right?
Yeah.
So, Donald, how did your LA Chargers look?
Well, my LA Chargers did lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 31-38. Overall, though, I can't be too mad. I mean, I haven't been mad at most of the losses. It is kind of it is sad though looking at this 1-3 record, given that the one is based off a missed field goal. So it's just like we're really just 0-4.
Dude, that was a blowout win, dude. No, that one was a blowout win.
So it's just interesting. I think the fun part about this team is just seeing Justin Herbert do his thing, man. It just makes you feel excited for the future as far as quarterback goes. He did pretty good. He threw for 25. He threw 25 times and completed 20 of those. So he only missed 5 throws for 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, only one interception, which was the last. It was the last series, which I know they were trying to rush to see if they can get. The thing is, down 31-38, the only thing they could have done is just tie it, or at least, or maybe a touchdown, go for 2 and win it by 1. But it needed to be like the perfect series happening, but the interception ended it. So that was pretty much it. The crazy part too is that like they were up 24-7 at the half. So they were up by a good chunk, and then they didn't really respond to anything in the second half. Like it wasn't much. It was a touchdown, I think, and a field goal. But at the same time too, looking at the game, I was thinking, okay, coming back at second half, Ndamukong Suh was a huge factor. It's like all of a sudden he just turned on a switch and started realizing he needed to do something to make sure that the defense was just going to stop this guy from doing what, from Justin Herbert being able to do what he does. Austin Eckler got hurt, so there goes our starter. I think he's out for like 4 to 6 weeks. So I guess we're really by committee now on the running back, like officially. Ndamukong Suh, the defense just really held Justin Herbert. And, I think they just saw it as like, we're not going to let Tom Brady lose to a rookie quarterback. Mm-hmm. And I think that was what happened because Tom Brady looked good, 5 touchdowns. I mean, everyone was like, oh, the GOAT status, all that stuff.
He threw an ugly pick 6 there at one point.
I saw that. Yeah. Vato made the touchdown on the pick 6.
Yeah, he did not look like Tom. I mean, he's lucky to have gotten away with that W, man.
Yeah, for real. I felt that, and at the same time too, because it happened so early. I mean, it hurts more when those pick sets happen late in the game, and that's like the end of the game. But I guess they figured out, well, we were only down so much, and they came back and they won it. And I don't know. I feel like this might be Anthony Lynn's last season, though. I feel with this new quarterback, they realize they need to get a coach that can kind of work with him a little bit better. I love Anthony Lynn. He great speeches, very motivational guy, but I feel like there's a bit of a lack in his end with the offense. And I mean, he's a running back guy, so he loves running backs. So I don't know how good he is with quarterbacks. I guess I didn't see it with Phillip Rivers because he was already old, and I kind of wanted Rivers out. But now I'm seeing it with Herbert, where I'm like, wow, you really are still playing really conservative with him. There's this weird thing about the way they do the play calling that doesn't fit right, I think, for the kind of quarterback you're getting right now. So, yeah. Yeah,
that's too bad. Sonny, how about your San Francisco 49ers? How'd they look?
Man, they dropped a tough one that, frankly, they shouldn't have dropped to the Eagles on Sunday night football. They were winning, I want to say most of the game. They were in command, and then just at the end, man, Nick Mullins, our backup quarterback to Jimmy Garoppolo, threw some atrocious interceptions. And needless to say, there is no quarterback controversy in San Francisco. We all can't wait for Jimmy G to come back and steer the ship. Jimmy being what he is, he may not be amongst the league's elite, but he absolutely is somebody who can command Kyle Shanahan's offense. Again, I chalked up Jimmy G's week 1 loss to the Cardinals mostly to rust and the lack of preseason, because it seemed like some of his timing was off with the receivers. But man, it was I feel like a missed opportunity, because like I said on the last episode of the West Box Score, our schedule, and I think you guys have since verified this, is crazy difficult coming up for basically the next 2.5 months of football, man. It's so we need to collect all the dubs we can get, assuming we're going to drop a couple in there and that our team is still banged up, even though we're starting to get some pieces back here and there. It was a tough Sunday night loss, but we move on next to play the 1-3 Dolphins on this coming Sunday. So that's got to be a W. I don't know if Jimmy G is going to come back yet for that game. They haven't announced it yet. I think he's going to be a game time decision. But yeah, we need that W, especially because we play the Rams the following week, man. And honestly, like, I'm licking my chops because I think the Rams are there to be had right now, even with all our injuries. So But we need to get that for our psyche, for the team psyche. We need to get back in that win column real quick, take care of business, and then go into that Rams showdown. I was like, okay, let's see how we stack up. So
I mean, I'm always worried going up against the 49ers. They always have a pretty good team, and they always play strong against the Rams, obviously, division rival. But after seeing the Rams' performance this past week against the Giants, I'm a little bit more nervous.
Hey, let the record state, though, you also are always worried about the 49ers, and you respect the 49ers because you are a 49er fan at heart. Right?
I'm not a 49er fan at heart.
Right? Explain. Let's talk about your past. Lucy. You have some explaining to do.
A lifetime ago, pre-COVID, a lifetime ago.
You have some explaining to do to the audience, Alex.
I've told you, this was early on before LA had a football team. When I was getting into football, LA had just lost the Rams and the Raiders. So I de facto went to the 49ers because
de facto? What was so de facto about it? There were so many other teams you could have gone to.
There was the Chargers, the Raiders, down there in San Diego.
The Oakland Raiders.
But look at Oakland Raiders a little bit. I still do watch to see what the Raiders are doing. I still kind of watch the Cowboys see what they're doing because I have family members who root for those teams. But as a kid, you always have family members who like those teams. So you're like, oh, what are they doing? But I was never quote unquote claimed fandom except for the 49ers. Dude, Steve Young, so awesome. I mean, Terrell Owens was great. Jerry Rice. I mean, okay, man, please. I respect their history.
Go on.
But I can't claim their fandom anymore. I don't know what you're like, oh yeah, keep naming all those names. You're enjoying that way too much, man.
Keep coming.
You're sick, dude. You're sick.
I just want to let the record state. Of course.
I will not deny the fact that I was a 49er fan before LA had a team. And I am such an LA homer. I don't care. I make no I don't care what anybody says. You're an LA homer. Yes, you can. Doesn't matter.
Are you though? Because you support a team in Carson. You support a team in Carson and not in LA.
As we move on now to MLS and talk about the Los Angeles Galaxy, 5-star winning team. Yes, they were in action against San Jose over the weekend. Should have been a win for the Galaxy. On paper, it's like, they should be able to take care of the two worst teams in MLS battling to stay out of the cellar. But it didn't work out too well for the Galaxy. At one point in the 4th minute, our star DP missed a wide open look at the net and hit the freaking post. How bad do you got to be right in front of yards away?
Who's your star DP again? Remind the folks.
Our star DP, the one we acquired from Spain.
From Spain?
The one from Spain. He's from Mexico. We acquired him from Sevilla recently. Yes. I'm not going to go into other stuff about our star DP that we spent millions and millions of our biggest signing ever. And is paying dividends a lot for Bud Light Seltzer. And I wanted to say he was 10 yards away from the goal line, and he hit the freaking post. It was like I was playing a pickup game at Goals over here in Southgate. And then luckily, the boy, Sebastian Lletget, saved him and got the rebound. So they were at least up 1-0, 4 minutes into the game. It's like, okay, the Galaxy are going to right the ship. They're going to take these 2 points. But nothing creatively, offensively from these guys, man. It was disappointing. David Bingham had some great saves and kept them in the game and kept it respectable. And that's why it was only a 2-1 loss instead of what, could have been a 4-1 loss. Man, this is both goals, by the way, were to the blame. Both goals were pretty much blamed on Rolf Felcher. What is he, the left back there, Donald?
Yeah, right back. No, left back. I think you're right. Yeah. Left back.
Yeah, it's never good when in the text chain you guys are shouting Bingham's name multiple times, and I'm over here I'm like, what's going on here? Why do they keep shouting their goalkeeper? It's like, oh, that was comedy, and of course, naturally, as soon as San Jose scored, I had to respond with Bingham.
Tell you the biggest heel in all of
I wasn't even watching the game. I just saw the score, and I was like, how come I didn't get a Bingham alert for San Jose score?
Did I mute my Bingham alerts? What's going on? Oh man, but it was a embarrassing, tough 2-1 loss. And I gotta say, San Jose has fans parked outside of their stadium and honking their horns during the game, which is a funny aspect because I mean, on the surface, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I wonder if I would do that, like for the Galaxy. I actually probably would because I'm such a dork. Obviously, going to Zoom tailgate games.
Zoom 28.
So. That's right. The Zoom 28. But it's funny because all you can do is honk the horn. And that's all they're doing. It's like, but something good happens, you honk the horn. But when something bad happens, you also honk the horn. So it's kind of hard to, are you booing or cheering at some point?
For San Jose, who knows these days, man?
Exactly, right? So it was kind of odd. Donald, what were your thoughts on this Galaxy match against San Jose?
I felt like it was pretty much the same match from the previous two. Not just because of the outcome, it's just the playing on the field. It just looks the same to me. Like there's nothing being done. I feel like for as much as I know Pavon's our best player, the thing is like he's not the guy that can carry the team and lead them to a win. I think this is why with Zlatan it worked out with him because he is more of an assist guy. He's like the Derek Fisher.
Yeah, he's a complementary piece.
Yeah, and that I think that's the reason why the whole like the loan buyout thing is such a question mark because you want to pay for somebody. If you're going to buy out someone, you want to buy out someone that's really going to give you wins and kind of be able to carry the team and everything. But that's not what he does. It's not like what he's there for. So I mean, the thing is like that there needs to be some like I think offensively on the wings, like it's good that he's on one side, but they definitely need to figure out the other side of the wing, because it seems. I mean, I know they're gonna put Chicharito up front, like he's gonna be the lone striker, and that's what they want him to do, to be like the goal scorer, which is fine. But I mean, it seems like you need to have two wings that are really good and consistent. When you only have one, then it definitely hurts, and it shows. So I think they need to figure out that in terms of finding out another wing. I was watching a couple of Chicharito videos on YouTube actually from the Mexico days just to see like what was the transition. But you know what? Like you realize like when you have like a Vela on one side,
you're playing with world class
like,
players.
You put like a Chucky Lozano on the other side, then it helps. But
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, and I think that's what he is. Or even Raul Jimenez, I think, is a wing too that would have been complementary. But it seems like he just doesn't have that yet. Defensively, obviously, Galaxy have never really done anything to change the defense up. So they're doing their best, I guess you could say, but it's not enough. But offensively, just for the sake of making Chicharito look good, you definitely need to get at least one right winger because Pavon plays left. You need someone on the right side that can kind of help out and clean up, because if not, then you're going to have this weird thing where Sebastian Lletget comes in and goes for some sort of save, and that's not really what Lletget kind of is known for. I'm sure that's not what he wants to do. So, but overall, I think it's just, I don't know. I think it's just kind of like wrap up the season and then figure out what you're going to do in the transfer window.
He's throwing in the towel. Ding, 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 ding. Donald's already saying enough.
Yeah.
No mas. Well, hopefully Yoni Gonzalez is a bit of a difference maker on the wing. He played.
Yeah,
he came in
hopefully.
around the 15. He played about 15 minutes, and obviously he's still training. He just got into the country from Brazil. He's a Colombian player, but it's. I mean, I'm almost like you, Donald, and you heard our obituaries last week, Sonny, and you were laughing as we were doing it. But you kind of almost do want to blow up this team, but there's still some games left, and you never know what could happen in this crazy MLS. And I don't want to give up on this team. Oh, here we go. Really, Ruddy reeling in there.
Well, we rope you in because we let you beat us during the regular season, and you guys get filled with pride and drunk, and you can't even focus anymore. And it's like, and then this happens, and it's like this little game now for us LAFC fans. It's like, you know what? It's more fun to let them beat us during the regular season and then see their team implode.
They are imploding. It's like what we talked about before. When our team loses, it's okay, but you want them to lose with some like style of play that's worth watching.
Right.
And they're not playing with any kind of style of play, any kind of, strategy. There's nothing there. They're just out there running around, chasing the ball around. It's like at that point, you're just playing a pickup game against professionals. And of course, you're going to have a bad result. This is just no strategy there. And of course, that has to fall on GBS. And I think he's got to go. I think maybe the general manager has to go. Something needs to happen. It needs to trickle on down. You can't get rid of all the guys on the team. You got to get rid of a lot of them, but you got to do something, man. And as much as you want to, the team is imploding, so you got to blow up the team now in the offseason. But still some games left to play. I don't want to be super negative about my Galaxy, but this is a part of the fandom, right? I'm here now as a newer Galaxy fan, Sonny, and I'm being tortured seeing a terrible play right now in the field. I'm earning my 6 star when we get it.
Yeah, that's for sure. You're technically your first star. So let's make that clear, okay?
All right, but as franchise 6 though.
Yes. I think I had more. I was able to take part in their first 4 stars more than you have been able to.
Let the record show. Former Galaxy fan.
No, I wouldn't say fan. I wouldn't say fan.
Supporter?
No, not even supporter. Follower in the sense that I would keep up and follow with what the team was doing very closely.
But it wasn't. I can respect that.
Yeah, but it was never like I got to watch every single Galaxy game. I'm going to root hard for them. It was always like, how's the team doing? Because this is the team that I grew up following when the sport was first new or introduced here to the States, even though I was already entrenched. Alex, and you and I have talked about this, me being a Chivas fan, diehard, right, prior to MLS even existing. But of course, then when MLS was born, Galaxy being the local team, and then me going to one of their games at the Rose Bowl was enough for me to, again, build a following for that team. Like somewhat, dare I say, affection for that team, because it had some of my
sweet.
It had some. They featured some of my favorite players of all time.
Absolutely.
So, and then they just lost their way, and I became disinterested and disenfranchised with them, and fell in love with the more and more. I kept falling just deeper in love with the international game, and when I was ready to come back, there was a team on the field that I will talk about next. There was a team that was being sold to us that would replicate the international style of play and bring it to the MLS.
Being sold to you.
Sold,
being marketed to
and
you.
Even bigger word, or even more keyword, delivered. Now we haven't had a title just yet, so that's the ultimate deliverance.
Can you please refer to them as the Starless Club LAFC?
The momentarily starless LAFC is what I will do for you. Yes, so that's just a short history lesson for all you fans out there who are just curious. Since Alex did speak his truth about his 49er fandom that still burns red behind closed doors.
Red and gold. Is it burgundy and gold?
It's red and gold. It's red and gold. So I thought I would share my truth as to my path to LAFC through Galaxy.
There you go.
So, but it was through Pasadena, not through Carson. Let the record state.
There we go.
Okay.
You went to some StubHub Center games.
I did. Yes.
All right. Or previously Home Depot.
Right. It wasn't called
Center.
StubHub. It was Home Depot back in the day. So
that's right.
But anyways, yes, LAFC.
LAFC.
Man. Yeah, we got back in the win column with a nice 3-1. Technically, I think it was our first road victory of the season, because we traveled up to Utah to beat the racist Real. To beat Real Salt Lake. We got 3-1. We got goals from Diego Rossi. We got a goal from Bradley Wright Phillips in the first half, and I think Brian Rodriguez chipped in with a third goal later in the game. So it was a nice win. Good to be amongst the top 5, jockeying for the top position in the West. We're still 6 points off of the top seed. Seattle's playing lights out right now, but again, given the fact that we're missing our star DP player right now, who shall be named Carlos Vela. I'm glad to see the team still kind of remain resilient despite. I mean, again, I mentioned having Atuesta back has made a huge difference. Those games where we were missing both Vela and Atuesta, really you could tell the difference. So, with that said, though, FIFA friendly calendars are popping up, rearing their ugly head, and so the bittersweet part about that is. Congratulations to Diego Rossi for being called up to international duty for Uruguay for their World Cup qualifiers.
Nice.
But of course,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but the downside is, unfortunately, MLS doesn't take any FIFA breaks, which has always annoyed me. So the games will continue, and we have to play them without our international players. I think Kay is also going to be playing for Canada in these FIFA friendlies. So we're missing, some of our attack. I don't know if Atuesta had been called by Colombia. I don't think so. But I know that Diego Rossi got called for Uruguay. So we'll see. We'll see how the team does. Again, already missing Vela, but now missing Diego Rossi. Arguably one of the top candidates for MVP of the year so far. So it's going to be a tough loss to kind of overcome. But hopefully the team can get some results in the next couple matches.
Yeah, the Galaxy are sending Jonathan Dos Santos, our captain, over to Europe for some Mexico friendlies. Just friendlies, dude. So that's annoying.
They have to, though. They're FIFA mandated. Anytime they're FIFA mandated, they have to go. That's part of the
FIFA gave teams an out, saying if they had to quarantine for more than 5 days when they returned, they didn't have to send the players.
Right.
So
I think that's how El Chucky was able to not go, because Napoli had a breakout, I think, and so therefore, out of an abundance of caution, he is not traveling to go play those friendlies.
But they're friendlies, dude. For a 3, they don't need to. Yona didn't have to go.
They do, man. They do, and I'll tell you why. Again, the national team, as it is, they don't get any sort of rhythm, right? Like they don't get to practice like your club team does. They literally have X amount of days that they get to prepare for the games that actually matter. And this is one of those games where the coach, in this case, Tata Martino, it's one of his only chances to see the players that he intends to field for the games that do matter and to see what they look like and to make adjustments from there. So they're absolutely important. I don't get mad at, I get mad at the league of MLS that they don't pause the league for the FIFA friendlies the way the rest of the world does when there's FIFA friendlies. So, but
I don't get why the MLS doesn't just do the regular schedule like Europe.
Yeah, that's a whole.
It's not like you're competing for the same time slot as Europe.
Exactly.
If you're watching EPL or Bundesliga or La Liga, you're watching them in the morning, and then MLS games happen at night for America.
That's not who they're afraid of competing with. They're afraid of competing with the NFL. And the NBA. That's who they're afraid of, because if you put them on the same calendar cycle, they're competing here for Sunday morning football games, because we all know MLS games are played Saturdays and Sundays. College football, is a big draw. And then the NBA takes the baton usually from the NFL come January or February, all the way through their NBA finals run. So it's unfortunately the MLS, they don't have the balls to compete with those sports, but I feel like people will still watch. Your fan base will still follow.
That's what I'm saying. 25 years in, it's still in the same place that it was. Yeah. It's not like, if you're hoping to beat the NFL and the NBA, good luck.
Right.
I
agree.
The fact of the matter is you don't have that kind of strength. So just do you, and us fans will just watch.
I agree.
That's just, it's just easier.
Sure.
I don't know. And that would solve the whole international break issue, because it is annoying that they do these international breaks and every other league around the world in Europe and everything takes the time off. And yet the MLS has to figure out how to get all these teams have to go and get all these call up all these people from the USL and all these minor teams. It's not the same type of play anymore.
Yeah, and we're talking about pivotal games for some of these teams. So that's why why it's frustrating. I've always hated it. Again, going back to my comment about becoming disenfranchised with the Galaxy, it wasn't just the Galaxy, it was disenfranchised with the MLS. And the way they were running soccer here in the States as a fan was just frustrating, where I just kind of threw my hands up like, all right, y'all need to get your shit together and then maybe I'll come back. So yeah, they definitely have some ways to go. My hope is that to wrap up this conversation, because this could be its own conversation that we can dive into at some point. But my hope is that when the World Cup is gearing up to be held here in the U.S., that's when U.S. soccer capitalizes on the market and the audience that they'll have, and they get their shit right and they say, okay, take us seriously now. Even though some people will just, you always get your World Cup fans that just fall off. They're always just interested in the World Cup. But hopefully there's enough of a groundswell at that point that they can ride that wave and say, all right, from now on, we are going to get on the same page as the rest of the international leagues. So I agree with you, Donald. But it's not there yet. So unfortunately, we have to live with stuff like this. And yeah, I mean, again, I don't blame the players for going to play with their international teams.
I didn't really take that into account, that they don't get to play, they don't get to train with each other, and these friendlies make them. These friendlies do matter as far as the training goes. I was being a little critical of Yona being selfish and putting country over club, but no, I think you're right. I also thought,
do you blame him for wanting to leave right now?
But yes, right. I think I texted Donald like, "Oh, look at Yona. Yona does not want anything to do with the Galaxy." Like, Donald was like, "Yeah, that's about right."
Chicharito's probably like clamoring, "Please pick me so I can at least score a couple goals over there," and be like, "Look, you see what I can do?" You know,
He'd be tired running to the phone. So UFC also happened over the weekend. I was really excited to see Irene Aldana take on Holly Holm. I was excited for that match. Holly Holm pulled off a Floyd Mayweather style win, though. Not very exciting, win 5 rounds, but Holly Holm was just that typical style kickboxer, just combinations, throwing a kick and back and run away. Combinations, run away. So it wasn't exciting as a casual fan to watch. But as a fan of the sport, I saw the tactics she was using, and because I was rooting against her, it pissed me off. But hey, man, that's a clean win, clean UFC win for Holly Holm. Way to go! And big NHL news, Donald. Do you want to share with the West Box Score crowd what's going on in the NHL?
Yeah, so the NHL draft happened today. The LA Kings had the 2nd overall pick. They selected Quinton Byfield, who is a center, 18 years old, 6'4", and it actually was a very history-making moment for the Kings and for the NHL as a whole, as he was selected as the highest drafted Black player ever. So that was huge. And on top of, seeing the analytics, like hearing a lot of people talk about it, a lot of the insiders and analysts, hearing all the analysts talking about how strong he is, how quick he is, how skilled he is. I'm really excited. And I know that overall for the Kings, I think getting younger is only going to make them better. It's time. It's definitely time.
They need to build on some speed, and a lot of comparisons already to Anze Kopitar, which he's going to learn underneath. He's probably going to be the second, maybe the third line starter to start off. Don't know how much time he's going to actually spend at AHL over in Ontario, but he's almost NHL ready. 08 in Canada, the Canadian League Rookie of the Year over there. 18 years, just turned 18 years old. Honestly, he's still growing. He might gain a couple more inches on him. So it's just impressive to see the Kings doing this, not just for what it matters for sports, because Quinton Byfield even says he wants to be a role model to athletes of color and Black athletes to take on to the NHL, know that the NHL is for everyone. So just from a social aspect in sports, this is definitely needed in the NHL right now. So I'm very excited that he's playing for our Los Angeles Kings. He's going to hopefully be productive on the ice as well, which is just going to make it more exciting. And he's got a lot of the analysts, as you were saying, also that he has superstar potential. So that's exciting. So get your Quinton Byfield jerseys ready. Number 55. Don't know if he's going to wear that with the Kings, though. So just keep an eye out for it. So as we're about to wrap up, let's look at the weekend games ahead. So obviously Game 5 is going on tonight as you're listening to this episode. Hopefully there won't be a Game 6 on Sunday. No need for it. And if hopefully Game 5 does wrap up, keep refreshing your podcast feeds. We might have a little surprise for you, little bonus episode we might drop on you guys. Just keep your eye out on our Instagram and our Twitters at WestBoxScore. MLB, hopefully the series is going to be wrapped up too. Dodgers in 3. That's going to be done too, hopefully. That's possible. Doubt it, though. I think we might have a 4 or 5 game series in that one. That's where I'm leaning.
Such
Sonny,
a
you don't
pessimist.
think so?
Such a pessimist. I think Dodgers wrap this in. I'll give the Padres 1 maybe, but I think it's over in 4.
Donald, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they'll sweep it and just move on to the NLCS.
Look at Donald's got the brooms out for you guys over in Slam Diego. Sunday also, the Rams take on the Washington football team, 10 a.m. on Fox. Rams are 3-1. Washington football team 1-3. So that should be a good positive game going into the big Sunday night football matchup.
Schedule, man. Are you kidding me?
Softball. None of these games are gimme games, dude. NFL, any given Sunday, man. Anything could happen.
I forget that you guys get a third place schedule. The way the NFL works out their schedules every season. What place did you guys come in the NFC West?
Yeah, they didn't make the post. I think, was it second? Or did you guys get? No, it was third.
You came in third. Yeah. It was
third.
the Seahawks. It was us, and then it was the Seahawks, and then it was you guys. So you guys got a third place schedule. So you played third place teams from last season.
Oh, that Tampa Bay loss and that Dallas Cowboys loss cost them.
Don't
the
forget that Niner loss.
playoffs.
I think on Christmas Eve or something like that. It was like, yeah.
This is the year. This is their year. They'll at least make the postseason. They'll at least make the playoffs. They're gonna beat. They'll go up over the 49ers for sure. And MLS. As you're listening to this, the Galaxy might have already beat the Portland Timbers.
Want to bet?
I can't even say that without laughing. Hey man, they're only 3 points out of the last playoff spot. I mean, as much as we're writing them off already, wanting them to.
How many points are they out of last?
They are in. They hold that spot very mightily. And then they take on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. They take on the Colorado Rapids. Sonny, who are your LAFC taking on?
LAFC. Oh boy, I looked this up earlier.
Do you want me to get them?
Well, yeah. What was it? It was they play Seattle
they play the
during
Rapids
the weekend.
During the week.
They play the Rapids on Wednesday and they play Seattle on Sunday, correct?
Seattle on Sunday, man.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be, and again, without Diego Rossi. So I'm hoping for a 1-1 split here. The best thing would be we get maybe 4 points. I'll even take 2 points. 2 draws, fine. But
in the playoff race.
I think we can pull off. I think we can pull off 4 points. I'm not going to say 6, but I think we can pull off 4. I'll be happy with 3.
Nice, very modest of you there.
Just realist.
Nice. Also, UFC on ESPN Plus. Marlon Morales taking on Corey Sandahagen is going to be a good one to check out there on ESPN Plus. Main card starts at 5, but try to tune in early at 2 p.m. for the prelims. This fight is the second fight slated. It's going to be on around 2:30 most likely. Tracy Cortez is worth checking out. She's a new up-and-coming MMA fighter. She's on a 7-fight win streak. She got signed to the UFC back in last year because she won Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. An impressive showing there. She fights out of Phoenix, Arizona, Mexican American. You know how I am about my Latino and Latina fighters in combat sports. I always root for them. So I'm rooting for her. Check her out. She's going to be fun to watch. Guys, anything else to add?
Nah, man. Go Lakers.
Yeah, go Lakers.
Go Lakers. And
hopefully, we'll do that bonus pod, man. I'm looking forward to that if
we're hoping
the Lakers
man.
take care of business.
I got my Tyler Hero scrawl right now.
Also, the Chargers are playing the Saints on Monday Night Football.
I can't believe I was remiss. I'm so sorry, Donald.
Drew Brees to haunt his former team for the last time in his career.
Oh man.
Yeah, Monday Night Football. Your Chargers are going to be on the prime time stage, man. You guys will get that one.
Yeah. At least that.
Hey, Donald, don't let him disrespect the Chargers. He treats the Chargers like they're some second-rate citizens out here. The way he talks about the Rams, man. Get out of here.
Heck no,
We're on to you, Alex.
Stop it. I told you during the Hard Knock series how that that Chargers training camp looked like a lot of fun, more fun so than the Rams training camp, and they turned me over.
I'll tell you this much: we all know who has the best quarterback. And he ain't wearing he ain't playing for McVay. I'll say that much. All right.
Man, after that 200-yard throwing performance, I think you're right. That's gonna do it for us this week. Thank you again to Sonny and Mondo for joining us. Check out his podcast, The Fox Crate Podcast, and follow him on Instagram at The Fox Crate. Next week, no more NBA Finals because they'll be wrapped up by then. The NBA postseason bubble is getting hotter. The NFL, MLS seasons are also going on. We're going to cover those. Please be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WestBoxScore. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts downloaded. See ya.
Adios.
Later.